Jim Nelson has been called the quiet leader that everyone listens to. With more than 50 years of experience in real estate advisory services, finance, and investment, Jim has played a pivotal role in such transformative projects as the Midtown Exchange, the Walker Arts Center expansion, and the new U.S. Bank Stadium.
My career in real estate has been somewhat non-traditional. I'm a mile wide and an inch deep, and it relates to the fact that I've had exposure and activity in so many phases of the real estate business over the 50 years that I have been in it.
He's made a difference in the industry on behalf of his clients. He's always acted ethically and is well respected by both his peers and his competitors in the industry.
The real estate related businesses, whether it's the mortgage side, leasing, management, real estate brokerage, advisory, if you like people, you're in the right business. And it's so interesting to me to speak to my contemporaries in the business who the first thing they'll talk about is what's important to them is the relationships they've developed with people that they can trust, they can rely on, and how important that is.
Jim and I worked on a lot of very complex projects, and he could always tell when I was eager to talk to him about a particular issue, and I tend to walk fast and with great stride, and sometimes if he heard me coming, he would pick up the phone and pretend to be talking on the phone so that I would calm down a little before I could come in and talk to him, and then of course we would work through the issues together. But he knew how to manage people and work to their talents, and that was a sign of his knowing how to manage me for sure.
Sarah and I have worked together in one way or another since 1988, and including up until June of this year, when the last things I did in my active days in business were working with Sarah on a significant project for her current employment with the U of M Foundation.
If there was one word I had to use to describe Jim, it would be ethical. He led by example. He was always doing the best work for the client, whether it was the transaction that would generate the most income for his company or not, it didn't matter. He was going to do what was right for the client. And in doing that, he knew that that client would be served well, and ultimately his company would be served well. And he expected that from everybody that worked for him and with him as well.
When people ask me what was my favorite assignment we ever had, was working on the Midtown Exchange project, which we were awarded the representation of Allina in 2003, and that project really was completed in about 2007.
He was instrumental in landing Allina as the tenant, which was the key to making that whole project in the former Sears building on Lake Street a go. The other project in which he was of great help was the U.S. Bank Stadium project, where he and I worked on issues, land assembly, on transference of parking ramps, and issues that while they were not the highest profile, they certainly were instrumental in making the project a success.
One of the very enjoyable opportunities I've had to serve in the community on a board of a nonprofit is a 32-year span on the Lakewood Cemetery board. And Lakewood is a phenomenal place. One of the projects I had an opportunity to serve as co-chair of the building committee was the Garden Mausoleum, the new building at Lakewood, which is a fantastic design by Joan Serrano of HGA. Seeing that building in the fall of the year is quite something.
I watched Jim as an owner of a company take great interest in all of the people that worked for him at the company. He knew the details of their lives, what was going on with them, what was important to them, how to motivate them, what might be weighing on their minds at any given point in time. And he took a great interest in everybody and made them feel like part of a community at the company. It allowed us as employees to achieve greater things for the company, but it also made for a really wonderful place to work. And I think that's the way Jim treated everybody that he crossed paths with, whether it was employees, whether it was his clients, people on the other side of the transaction, as Chuck speaks to. He just treated everybody so honorably that they really felt like they wanted to do their best because Jim was doing his best.
If I weren't going to go into the mortgage banking business, I wanted to be a teacher and coach. And so I have enjoyed doing that. I've coached a lot when my kids were young, particularly, and enjoyed it thoroughly. And really have enjoyed mentoring so much. And it's such a joy to go around the industry today and see so many of our alums who are doing so very well in many companies.
Jim made it clear to everybody that giving back to the community was really important. Again, it was his father, I believe, who shared with Jim and everybody else that if you gain success from a community, you are obligated to give back to it. Jim served on boards. Jim made it possible for everybody that he worked with to take the time to serve on boards, to work in the community with whatever their passion was. He made it a priority for people to do that while they were working with him.
Many things I'm proud of. My family, which today consists of five adult children, which is really my 3 adult children, and my wife Lorna's 2 adult children. We've been married for 22 years. And collectively we have 11 grandchildren right now, ages 6 months to 24 years. So that gets a lot of our attention.
Jim's been involved in so many projects that have been transformative for our community, but I think what he would really want to be remembered for are the people that he's worked with and that he's supported, whether it's the clients that he's represented so well, the many employees that he has mentored, many of whom are now leaders in their own right, and then of course all of the folks that he has served with or for on the various boards that he's been participating on for many, many years, big boards, small boards. He's all about service to people, and that's what he would want to be remembered for.
When I was advised that I was going to be elected to the Hall of Fame, I sat down and started writing a list of names of people that I owed thank yous to. And I did that on a plane ride, and I did it on the back of a barf bag that was in the section in front of me, and I ended up with about 225 names during that flight, and still hadn't covered everybody.
Congratulations to Jim Nelson, award recipient of the 2018 Minnesota Real Estate Hall of Fame.